Welcome to Law Talks, your guide to justice. Know your rights and empower your future.
Welcome, everyone, to our latest explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly monumental subject, the Constitution of India. It isn't just some dusty set of rules. It's literally the supreme legal document of the nation. And get this, it is the longest written national constitution in the entire world.
Exactly. It's this massive living framework that's been guiding a super diverse, incredibly vibrant democracy ever since 1950. Our main goal today is to just make you aware of the brilliant mechanics behind it. We're going to show you exactly how its core principles, its institutions, and most importantly, your rights all work together.
Now, to really grasp the stakes of what we're talking about today, you've got to hear this powerful reminder from retired Supreme Court Justice Hans Raj Khanna. He said, "A constitution is not a parchment of paper. It is a way of life and has to be lived up to. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, and in the final analysis, its only keepers are the people." Man, that is just such a crucial framing. We aren't just looking at dry legal jargon today, folks. We're talking about the very heartbeat of civic life in India. The Constitution empowers you, the people, but it also completely relies on you to protect its values.
So let's dive right in. Don't worry, we've taken this massive framework and neatly organized it into 6 digestible chapters for this explainer.
That's right. We'll start with the preamble's promise, then look at how Parliament shares power and examine the role of the Speaker. After that, we'll unpack the unshakable basic structure, detail your fundamental rights, and finally explore directing the state.
All right, let's kick things off with Chapter 1, the Preamble's Promise, also known as the Philosophical Manual. So if the Constitution were, say, a giant complex piece of machinery, the preamble would be its philosophical user manual. It kicks off with 3 incredibly powerful words: we the people. It's super brief, but every single word was chosen with absolute intention. It sets the whole tone for the document and acts as this guiding light for lawmakers and judges alike.
Right, and what's really fascinating about this is how it totally flips the script on how power used to work. It straight up declares that you, the citizens, are the ultimate source of political power. It guarantees that the government isn't just something imposed on you from above, but rather a system flowing directly from the people, designed specifically to secure justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity for everyone.
To really understand what kind of nation the people resolve to create, we just need to look at these 5 core tenets. First up is sovereign, which basically means India is completely independent, no external authority pulling the strings.
Next is socialist, reflecting a massive commitment to the equitable distribution of wealth and resources for the common good. Then we have secular. This is an absolutely vital principle for such a diverse nation, ensuring that religion and government stay completely separate. Nobody is forced to follow any specific faith.
Number 4 is democratic, meaning the government is elected by and totally accountable to the public. And finally, republic. This guarantees that the head of state is an elected representative, not some hereditary monarch. Put them all together, and they beautifully set the expectations for a truly independent, equitable society.
Moving right along to Chapter 2, how Parliament shares power.
The bicameral legislature.
Okay, now we're shifting from the soul of the document to the actual physical gears of the republic. India uses a bicameral legislature. That's just a fancy way of saying Parliament is split into 2 distinct houses, designed specifically to balance each other out. The Lok Sabha, or lower house, holds the ultimate executive control. For example, money bills, those can absolutely only be introduced here. And even more importantly, the government is held accountable as a whole to the Lok Sabha. If they pass a no-confidence motion, boom, the government falls.
But balancing out all that power is the Rajya Sabha, or upper house. This house serves as the voice of the states, acting as a strict guard for federalism. And they've got their own special powers too. Under Article 249, they can actually authorize Parliament to make laws on subjects usually reserved for the states, assuming it's in the national interest. Plus, they have the exclusive authority to create new All India services. It's a really fascinating push and pull system.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the role of the Speaker, maintaining order.
You know, in a vibrant democracy, especially when you throw coalition governments into the mix, the floor of the legislature can get pretty intense. You absolutely need a crucial individual tasked with maintaining order, discipline, and total balance. Enter the Speaker. Their administrative powers are immense. They're the constitutional head of the House, regulating procedures and, well, keeping the peace.
Exactly, and the most crucial point here is their neutrality. Even though the Speaker is almost always elected from the ruling party, their rule strictly requires them to act impartially. Like, they don't even vote in the first instance. They only exercise a casting vote if there happens to be a tie.
And honestly, perhaps the most significant power they have, they get to decide on disqualification pleas if a member is accused of political defection under the 10th schedule. That is a massive, massive responsibility.
Now, what's really interesting here is the check on that massive responsibility. Because the Speaker wields such immense authority over disqualifications, the Supreme Court actually had to step in.
Right. In the landmark 1993 Quijano-Halahan case, the court ruled that a speaker's decisions are not entirely immune from oversight. They are, in fact, subject to judicial review. This was an absolutely critical move to prevent partisanship and make sure the speaker's power isn't misused for political gain.
Okay, let's turn to Chapter 4, the unshakable basic structure.
The unshakable pillars.
So, check this out. By 2023, the Indian Constitution had been amended 106 times. It definitely adapts to the times. But it begs the question, could a government with enough votes just, change the whole thing? Could they literally amend away democracy itself?
No way. And the answer to why lies in this fascinating legal anchor, which was actually decided by an incredibly narrow margin, 7-6. Back in 1973, in the landmark Keshavananda Bharati case, a 13-judge bench of the Supreme Court delivered a historic 7-6 majority decision. That single solitary vote margin established what is famously known today as the basic structure doctrine.
This doctrine essentially declared that, sure, Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution, but it absolutely cannot destroy or alter its basic structure.
Right. It protects several immutable features. Things like the supremacy of the Constitution itself, the Republican and Democratic form of government, its secular nature, the separation of powers, and its federal character. So Parliament can tinker around the edges, but these foundational pillars, they are permanently protected from being abolished.
Let's move to Chapter 5, your fundamental rights.
The citizen's shield.
Now, let's bring this explainer down from the high courts and look directly at a citizen's daily life.
Enter Part 3 of the Constitution. This acts as your personal civil shield. Guys, these aren't just mild suggestions. They are the absolute bedrock of individual liberty. They guarantee 6 fundamental rights to all citizens universally, completely regardless of their background.
And what's really vital to understand here is that these rights were designed not just to protect civil liberties moving forward, but to actively overturn historical inequalities from pre-independent social practices, like completely abolishing untouchability and forbidding forced labor.
From the right to equality and freedom of speech to protecting the cultural and educational rights of minorities, these form a truly comprehensive protective net.
But here's the thing. A right is really only as good as your ability to enforce it, right? And that is the most crucial aspect of this whole system. Fundamental rights are justiciable. Spot on. Articles 32 and 226 actually empower the Supreme Court and High Courts to issue direct orders, or writs, to enforce these rights. If the state ever overreaches and violates your liberty, you can march straight to the courts to demand your rights be restored. It is without a doubt the ultimate legal safeguard. And finally, Chapter 6, Directing the State.
The directive principles.
So while Part 3 provides a shield, Part 4 provides a compass. Think of it this way. If fundamental rights limit what the state can do to you, the directive principles guide what the state should do for you.
Exactly. As we just mentioned, fundamental rights are highly justiciable, meaning courts will actively enforce them. The directive principles of state policy, however, are non-justiciable. You can't just sue the government if they fail to implement them, but they are a profound moral obligation. They're essentially this incredible blueprint handed to lawmakers, pushing them to build a modern, just, and welfare-driven state. The Constitution explicitly says it's the duty of the state to apply these principles when making laws.
So you might be wondering, what exactly is the state morally obligated to strive toward? Well, the directive principles fall into 3 broad, really progressive categories.
First up, we have socialistic principles. These aim to provide social and economic justice. Think things like ensuring an adequate livelihood and equal pay for everyone.
Second are the Gandhian principles. These are directly inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's vision, and they focus heavily on organizing village panchayats and promoting local cooperatives.
And third, we have the liberal intellectual principles. These push for more modern goals, like securing a uniform civil code across the country and providing early childhood care. Put them all together, and they create a comprehensive, forward-looking roadmap for the nation's development.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really want to return to the thought we started with. The Constitution of India is this incredibly intricate, beautifully balanced, living document. It gives you your rights, it gives the state its direction, and it gives our institutions their much-needed stability. But, a constitution doesn't just uphold itself. Remember Justice Khanna's warning from the beginning, its only keepers are the people. The machinery is all there and the protections are firmly in place, but it demands our constant vigilance and our active participation.
So we want to leave you with this provocative question to really reflect on. Are we being good custodians of our Constitution? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, stay engaged, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.